we're back for hour number 2 with Dr. Fred Graves. And Dr. Fred, with the recent decision by the Supreme Court regarding marriage, it brings out some interesting points we talked about in the break before the show today. Can you teach us some of these juridical principles? Because a lot of people are very confused. A lot of them are hand-wringing and whining. A lot of them don't understand that unless they approach this problem correctly as a procedural issue rather than a political one, then they're just going to be hand-wringing forever while the courts legislate, which is against their primary purpose. They're not supposed to legislate. They're only supposed to interpret something that's already written in law. And it's bizarre, but the courts are getting away with it over and over again, especially the extra-liberal Supreme Court making judgments that violates the Defense of Marriage Act. And we can see right back from the abortion issue, where they even made in their own judgment statements that if we had approached and argued specific arguments, there never could be abortions in the country because rights of inheritorship would have made them a person from the moment of conception. So it's bizarre to me that these things continue and get worse and worse with each generation and each appointee of new politically motivated judges that are legislating from the bench. It's disturbing.
Well, Dr. Bill, the founders knew that we were dealing with humans. They knew that unbridled power just gets out of control. They knew all that. And so they created all this according to some principles that go all the way back to England. And, there's all these what I call maxims. In fact, that's what they're called, maxims of common law and maxims of juridical reasoning. And there are these principles that are supposed to constrain the rationale and the decision-making of judges, whether they're your county court judge, a municipal judge, a state Supreme Court judge, or a United States Supreme Court judge. They're all supposed to be bound by these simple juridical principles that people can learn in my course. But here we go. It's all about politics today, more and more, now that there's the internet and television. You know, when I was born, there were no televisions. But now there's TV and the internet and all this ability for the so-called political correctness to, you know, and God forbid we offend anybody, all that sort of thing going on. And we've lost sight of the fact that the courts, more than anything else that we have, the courts, not the legislature, not the White House or the executive, but the courts are supposed to function pretty much like a machine. A machine, not a human thing that's interpreting, well, I feel like this ought to be this way, or gee, a lot of people would like it to be that way. But that's not how the courts are supposed to function. And like I've said before, I won every case but one in 30 years because I learned fairly early on that the court is a machine, and when I learn how to use it as a machine and force it to behave as a machine and follow the rules that the machine must follow, I get what I want. And when the people themselves begin to learn why and how these Supreme Court justices and local federal court judges in their local areas are not operating as a machine, but they're operating as legislators. They're interpreting public policy and things like that instead of following these fixed rules, just like the rules in your internal combustion engine that pulls your car. The piston has to go up and down, the valves have to open at a particular time, and the spark plug has to fire just at the right time. And then the engine works properly. And if we could just get the people in this country to understand from my course or wherever they want to get the information, it just happens to be easy to get from the information that I have in my course. Once they begin to learn that the court is not like the legislature. It's not like the executive branch. It is supposed to operate as a machine according to fixed rules that the judges are not supposed to violate. But since people don't know that, they don't know the rules. The judges don't even seem, either the judges don't know the rules or they're just doing it, ignoring it on purpose. So we have these things happening that never should have happened. Never should have happened. But we don't have a media. We don't have newspaper power. The people that run newspapers don't know these things. So once we get the people to understand that this is supposed to be a machine, is supposed to operate as a machine, is supposed to obey fixed principles of what are called juridical reasoning, how judges reason, how they reach their conclusions, which isn't supposed to have anything to do with how they feel or what they think the public wants or what big corporations want. It's not supposed to have anything to do with that. It's supposed to all be cut and dried. And then it works. And it works beautifully. And I've forced it to work for 30 years. It works for me. It works for my clients. But it is a machine. And the people don't know this, Dr. Bill. And I just applaud you for all you're doing to try to educate people on these things.
Well, what you've done is you've actually made me understand. You do on the legal front what I try to do in the medical. My background was basically advanced chemistry, organic chemistry, intermediate metabolism, and physics. And I applied the principles of hard science to medicine, which, by the way, they wanted to try to make sure the doctors that were getting training only had what we call Mickey Mouse levels of science so that they could then turn them into drug reps with a white coat and a stethoscope. And what happens is when you look at it as an art based on science, if you have better science and you have better artful application of that science, you can heal conditions by looking at the underlying metabolic and toxicological and genetic and epigenetic situation. Well, the same principles apply in law. What you've done is you boil it down to rules of evidence and rules of procedure and said, hey, this is the, if you want to call the mathematical tools of the legal machine, and you're like a legal mechanic for, say, the Lamborghini Countach, and it's a $1 million plus vehicle, and you say if you operate on these principles, you can fix any car legally, a legal car. And what you're telling people is they don't have to have a law degree. They become, in fact, I think you get an honorary law degree if you finish your course, because you basically you will know principles and are applying them probably more efficiently than a lot of lawyers and judges that are kind of getting away with things, because often people don't want to offend each other if they're lawyers even on the other side of an issue, or judges. So they'll often let each other get away with things that really they know in law school they shouldn't be able to do or get away with. But when you call them to task and use these principles, you can actually win cases against lawyers and against judges who have to obey what you're trying to do because you stuck to the principles of the law. You weren't offensive, you weren't pushy, you were just applying the principles, and you can win. And that's what people should understand. Whether you're hiring a lawyer and know these principles and you can push your lawyer to do what needs to be done, or you do it yourself pro se, if we had more pro se litigant action, we would stop smart meters, we would stop government setting up all these illegal institutions based on the idea of emergency powers during a non-war situation since the 1930s. We get rid of the pro-abortion lobby. They would recognize that the individual is separate and distinct genetically at the moment of conception. We would get rid of the eugenics policies and Obamacare. We would get rid of the soft money and the manipulation of the political system. A lot of things would be cured if we would actually fix and realize that the machine of the legal system, not politics and not even the presidency, is the underlying evil that's driving the nation over the edge.
Well, it's darkness. It's definitely darkness. This whole idea of partial birth abortion.
Right.
How do you twist reality? How do you twist a document called the Constitution of the United States to the point where it says that it's okay to bring the baby out feet first and then suck its brain out? I mean,
that's obscene.
It's not there. It's not in the Constitution that all these young people died for, brother.
Exactly. And it's also illogical, it's evil, and it's insidious. Jurisdictionary, get the course at Nutrimedical.com. It's important. Medical report, and we have Campbell Kilgore all the way from New Zealand to talk about Mountain Red Velvet. Mountain Red Velvet is very remarkable. When we integrate it with our other nutraceutical technology, we call signal or scalar technologies such as the X Vitalizer we have from China, the micropulse developed at NASA, and the lumen photon technology, and other technology we have like Metathera we have from Germany. You have the right substances, including Mountain Red Velvet, which is the extracellular matrix and building block for any tissue. You literally can recreate anything in your body. So, for example, I call the four horsemen of regeneration is number 1, Mountain Red Velvet, then Collagen Max, Tendon Mender, and Joint Performance. And the 396 biomolecules and 6 growth hormone factors, they're quite amazing. In fact, I have a bottle sitting on my desk right now. And we had a little delay there for a while because the red deer decided to hide up in the mountains because of the extra rainfall in New Zealand this last, I guess, your winter, our spring and summer. And the red deer, I guess, yielded up all their wonderful velvet, and a lot of people now, they're taking it, rebuilding their muscles, their joints, their brain, their liver, their kidneys, their skin, their nails, and they're happy. So, happy deer and happy people. Campbell, tell us about some of the testimonies you've had from not only pro athletes, like I think there's some pro athlete in karate in New Zealand, there's pro skiers, we have elderly people start taking it and they've had spinal arthritis like your father-in-law, people have had chronic problems for years that haven't healed. They start taking it and all of a sudden they said, my brain's working better, my liver's working better, my kidneys have improved function. What testimonials do you have to talk about today for this amazing formula of Mountain Red Velvet?
Absolutely, Dr. Bill. And I think one of the things just to remind everybody of is, although we talk about these elite athletes, and that's certainly a group that have come to us and they're seeking legal products that allow them to enhance their performance. And you're dead right. We actually have a world karate champion, Ruin Retief, and he approached us a number of years ago, and he'd actually been using the product for a year or so before he contacted us. He'd been buying it. And he said, look, I'm so amazed with this product, and I have been taking a note of all of my metrics in terms of how it has improved his performance over that period of time. And it was quite incredible in terms of he was essentially able to double his exercise capacity. He was able to bench press more. He was been able to lift more. He had more stamina. He had more energy. And also he was able to recover from an enormously arduous exercise regime far more quickly. Now, I think what we have to do is translate that, in terms of that elite athlete's performance, into what it means for you and I and people walking down the street and listening to this show today, because we're not all elite athletes. But really what it shows is that Mountain Red and this unique 396 active ingredients has an effect on how we can rebuild our bodies, how our bodies perform, and how our bodies recover from just the day-to-day rigors of normal life. So we know that people, when they start taking this product, the first thing they notice is that they have more energy, and that's really quite noticeable. It happens in a matter of days, and that's really due in part to one of the unique properties of Mountain Red Deer Velvet, where it actually increases the the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood. So it's like putting extra high lead petrol in your vehicle. You can do more, you can perform better, you can just get on with the day-to-day tasks. Living in the 21st century is incredibly hard work on the body. It's hard on the immune system, it's hard on your bones, your tendons, your ligaments. So this unique recipe, if you like, of Mountain Red, we know that it has an incredibly high effect in terms of allowing you to do more, having more exercise, getting a good night's sleep at night, waking up the following day, you're invigorated, and you can really get on with the task in hand. There's all these hidden benefits as well in terms of, we know that immunity is central to good health, and that there's a lot of things in the 21st century, stress.
Yeah, it is quite amazing. I think maybe we lost our connection with Campbell Kilgore in New Zealand, so we'll reconnect there.
The easiest ways.
There he's back. Oh. Okay.
I'm back. You got me? I don't know how much you missed there, Dr. Bill.
We just missed about maybe 10 seconds. All
right, okay. That what we have here is something that has these hidden benefits in terms of boosting natural immunity, assisting with cardiovascular health. We know that Mountain Red actually lowers blood pressure, it lowers cholesterol. These things have been tested for many, many years. There's an enormous wealth of research that's been done on Deer Velvet in New Zealand, just as a general health tonic, but with some incredibly specific benefits in terms of joint health, in terms of cardiovascular health, in terms of immune health. So really, if people are looking for something that they take every day as part of their wellness regime, then Mountain Red is it. It's a simple capsule to take. There's nothing to mix. There's nothing to carry around. There's no liquids. And really, it's something that, whether you be that elite athlete, or whether you be a regular mom and pop, or whether you be somebody who's studying at college, you will get benefits from taking Mountain Red every single day.
Now, I've got a few tricks that we've talked about. We can open up some of the capsules. I just took 2 just a moment ago. But I'll take another one probably at the break at the top of the hour or at the bottom of the hour and put it under my tongue. And I'll absorb it. We're also working on a DR cap, and I think once you get licensure for New Zealand, for Australia, which is another big market, that we probably will get the DR cap here in North America. That means it's going to be able to get to the lower small bowel. That'll mean it'll go into the micelle form and then go through the splenic circulation to your liver and then through the target organs. And when you micelize fragile molecules, they deliver to the target tissues the extracellular matrix to literally return the tissues to a state which is only present in the fetus when the body is rebuilding via maximum apoptosis to get rid of older cells and tissues and mitochondria and rebuilding tissues and organs. So it's a major step towards zero senescence. Where physical aging of organ systems, I think we're going to reach that target within 5 to 10 years. I don't think 20 years. My guess, 5 to 10 years. We are gradually getting there now with things like Mountain Red Velvet and our scalar technology and things that I just announced. For example, we posted up yesterday, the Metatron from the Russian Space Agency of the latest version of the Metatron. That's now available for people to purchase, doctors, clinics, anybody that wants to learn how to use a Metatron. We'll actually show them. It's the most advanced of our diagnostic therapeutic machines. So all these technologies brought together, Nutrimeds, the Mountain Red Velvet, the hyperbaric oxygen, ozone therapy, etc., are a grand orchestra to literally bring the body to a state where it can heal itself. And when pain goes away when you take Mountain Red Velvet, it's because the underlying problem is gone. And you probably have lots of testimonies of people who say, there's no pain meds in this. Why is it making my pain go away in my spine or my joints or my ligaments? It's because the problem is gone away. And when the problem goes away, there's no need for the body to generate a pain response to splint the organs to prevent you from moving a broken body part.
That's right. And I would say here in New Zealand, the most common condition.
Mountain Red Velvet, it's amazing. And of course, we have our sale coming up this next Wednesday midnight. If you want to get your orders in soon, it's remarkable. We have lots of it too. We will be back in just a moment with more of hour number 2 and your questions. 800-259-5791. Stay right there. And we are back with Chris Jackson. Chris, how are you doing? Okay, I guess we don't have Chris yet. Chris Jackson, of course, is our expert with VibraSlim. And I've looked at all the different vibrational exercise equipment, including Power Plate and others, DKN, etc. Most of these other machines, to get relatively equivalent technology, you're going to spend 3 times the money, so anywhere between $5,000 and $10,000. The VibraSlim, which is built so solidly and in modules for service, is $1,299, including delivery. Lifetime on the machine, and modular for 3 years on all the other parts and so on. It's amazing. And vibrational exercise is essential if you want to stay wealthy and healthy and well, as they say. If you don't have your health, you don't have any wealth, or you soon will spend all your wealth trying to get your health back. So, Chris, tell us about the VibraSlim. What makes it superior in terms of price, equipment, service, etc.? What makes it so much a better deal than any other company?
Well, with us, you're dealing directly with the manufacturers. No, you're not dealing with any middlemen. With the other machines, it goes through 3, 4, 5 hands, and they all mark it up by the time they get to you. And other problem you're going to have when you go through that many hands is who's going to fix it. And they like to pass the buck. With us, there's no passing the buck. We repair it for you right on site at your home. You don't have to ship it back like everybody else out there. They'll make you ship the machine back in a huge box, which will cost you a fortune. With us, it's fixed in your home. But the best thing about our machine is it's the most reliable in the market. We have a lifetime motor warranty. Our machines are the most reliable by far on the market. They don't break down. So you don't even need to worry about it. And we've been in the business now for 9 years. We've got the most experience, and every couple of years our last upgrade we did, I think that's a little over a year ago, we upgraded all the interior, all bearings and motor to make the home machine as strong and durable as the commercial machine. So when you buy a home machine, you're actually getting a commercial quality, which is a huge
you
difference.
can literally run it in a clinic, and the chiropractors, rehab doctors, and special sports clinics and professional teams use them because they're so durable. You can use them all day long. In other words, they're not a machine you can use for 10 minutes or 20 minutes a day. You can literally use them 10, 12 hours a day continuously at a fitness center.
Yeah, and that makes it super reliable. So for home users, this machine will run for years and years and years with no maintenance and worry-free. Vibration exercise is literally one of the most effective exercises you can do. You only need to do it 10, 15 minutes a day, and it's equivalent to more than 60 minutes of cardio. But you get so many other benefits from it. It lowers your blood pressure, speeds up your metabolism, raises your HGH levels. You're building muscle.
I got a new one for you. If you can do a pre and post test with your Berkeley test strips, you'll notice the increase in nitric oxide being released into your body. You can even test in the back of your tongue. So VibraSlim, along with our nutraceuticals like KARDIOVASC, Gamma E+, Gamma Magnesium Taurate, Magnesium Glycinate, Malate, and Supernox, VascuCare, and CoQ10, Supreme CoQ10 Ubiquinol. When you actually add VibraSlim, it actually is the best stimulant for nitric oxide and mitochondrial function in your body. And so it'll lower your set point, but it also raises your nitric oxide, so it improves organ perfusion throughout your body and lymphatic pumping. In fact, it's the most powerful thing to pump your lymphatic detoxification vessels in your body. There's nothing comparable. And that's what I think is pretty neat about it. It does so many things. Studies done comparable in Europe showed 3 times more fat loss and actual fat mass in the body with ultrasound tests of the abdominal wall and intra-abdominal organs. A lower set point, which means it'll defend lower weight even 6 months after you stopped using it, even if you stop using it, which is not a good thing to do. It increases bone density because it stimulates bone collagen, connective tissue, and tensile strength. It increases growth hormone release. It increases nitric oxide. It has a cardio effect, so it improves your vascular nitric oxide and peristalsis, so it lowers blood pressure. And it improves perfusion throughout your body. I just don't know anything that can be comparable. So even if you're a power lifter, you're a runner, you're a golfer, you're a surfer guy, dude or lady, 10 to 20 minutes of this a day. And what I like to do is 20 minutes. And I use free Bowflex weights. I have body elastic bands, both with an athletic bar, a gymnastic bar above and behind me, bolted to the ceiling, and I use them below. And I got the real powerful body elastic bands you can get at Amazon. And I use those along with the free weights, and I'll tell you, use a free weight and you multiply that weight or that resistance band by 3.6 times for a fraction of a second. And if you're doing your exercise on VibraSlim, you're going to blow out your muscles, you're going to increase your balance, you're going to prevent falls, you're going to prevent injury to joints because you have better proprioception and muscle control. It does so many things, it's hard to literally categorize them all. And it's completely different from regular exercise. That's why I call it VibraFit compared to CrossFit. VibraFit is what I recommend, not CrossFit. CrossFit is your wires are crossed in your head if you do CrossFit.
Yeah, it's true. Like I say, vibration exercise is very, very safe. We have teenagers can use it. A very elder and frail can use it. No problem. Yeah,
professional athletes can use it. Like, you can go out and push a bench around the playing field if you're a professional football player or mixed martial artist. But if you do say 20 minutes of vibrational exercise, you're much less likely to get injured. You're going to have stronger tensile strength into muscles and joints. You get 100% recruitment of slow and fast twitch fibers. You improve your muscle control tremendously, so you're less likely to get yourself have micro tears to shoulder capsules or joints. You stimulate healing, blood flow, bone density. We tell people we had a question in the first hour, take bone generator, MyCell D3, Myco D2. You add VibraSlim, and you're going to reverse osteoporosis. So if you get Granny, you can even just prop her up, and a person standing, one person beside her or two on one on either side, you can literally stand someone up and hold them there. They're going to get benefit on this machine. That's how amazing it is. It is so safe, you can actually have knee surgery. Let's say you have a knee cleaned out, and even ACL repair, and you can literally stand on the machine the next day, and you won't tear your surgical repair apart. It's that safe. So in other words, it doesn't load the joint to increase injuries like CrossFit, where you're throwing dumbbell weights all over the place and can hit yourself in the head, or tear shoulder capsules. It improves what's called we call proprioception, so for position sense. It improves the connective tissues, it improves perfusion, it improves neurological control. Any other things you can think of that it does, but you're completely unique. I mean,
oh yes, and one of the ones that you touched on there, I just want to clarify, because this is the one that's really good for the people that are trying to lose weight and have been yo-yo dieting, on and off all the time, which is just very common. You lose the weight, and then all of a sudden your body fights it and bounces back, and you usually gain extra weight on top of where you started from.
Right.
And vibration exercise has been proven time and time again that it resets the body's weight set point. So you go from 150 pounds down to 120 pounds. Reset it so your body wants to stay at 120, because your body naturally wants to go up to 150 or 140 again and put 5 more pounds on. But by resetting that set point, you're not fighting for those gains that you've made. And that's a huge, huge difference that no other exercise will ever do for you. And I've heard time and time again, people have lost large amounts of weight, and they're continually able to lose it. One of our spokespeople is Michael Ventrella. He was the winner in 2010 of The Biggest Loser, and
right.
He used the VibraSlim at home to keep his weight off.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, that's a big deal. The VibraSlim is the vibrational exercise to get, along with body elastic bands, some Bowflex free weights, and if you want more information, I'm going to post it up on the wellness conditions for doing VibraFit. Fareed here from KARDIOVASC. Fareed, I am so pleased with taking my KARDIOVASC, and we talked about VibraSlim a minute ago. The first and most important things is, if you're going to restore perfusion to your tissues, which is one of the key issues for anti-aging, if you're going to deliver nutrients and oxygen and pull toxins out, you have to have good circulation. And the first step in great circulation is perfusion, is KARDIOVASC. And of course, that's a new name for KARDOVITE, because it's a U.S. version that contains ginkgo biloba. We have new labels on them too, so people kind of now identify it as KARDIOVASC. This is the original formula made by your dad, Sam Ibrahim. There's knockoffs out there. Heart and Body, Strauss Heart Drops, Extendivite, all these things are knockoffs, are far inferior because they use the wrong part of the plant. They don't test every batch for the right molecules. All kinds of reasons why they can't be certified with the same level. They're manufactured in Canada, and the standards there are the most stringent in the world, which are Canada and Australia, even more stringent than here in America. And it's the only nutraceutical I know of, other than our 7-star Nutrimed line, the only nutraceutical I know of, every batch is tested for the marker molecules in a high-pressure chromatography for every batch. So tell us some of the, let's go through some of the different benefits of them. Firstly, I've seen people literally restore heart function after a heart attack. They started after their heart attack, and their heart wall motion restores to normal. I've seen people with blocked arteries open the artery up. I've seen people say, gee, my brain is working because it's perfusing, or my liver, or my kidneys. I've seen people with blocked arteries in their legs where they're planning a Dacron graft, and 6 months later they go back and do a arteriogram, and they say, my gosh, your artery's not blocked, we can't do surgery. Disappoints the surgeon, and I guess he's not going to pay for that fancy new boat. Or glider plane, which is like what you fly. So I think it's really important people understand that if you take control of perfusion and you restore normal mitochondrial function, which also the KARDIOVASC is going to detoxify your body from heavy metals and chemicals that interfere with normal mitochondrial function. It's going to get rid of nanobacteria. It's going to rebalance your autonomic nervous system. It's going to prevent the oxidation of cholesterol and fatty acids to form plaque in your arteries. And it's going to improve, we call perfusion, which is a baseline for stem cell regeneration for the return of normal heart function. or normal peristaltic behavior of your blood vessels, your arteries and veins, which is the primary thing that pumps your blood. Your heart is a primary wave, but the secondary and more important wave is actually the blood vessels. And that's why when your blood pressure goes up, it means your heart's trying to compensate for poor perfusion because your vessels aren't working, because the mitochondrial function is not up to snuff. Let's go through some of the components and explain to people why KARDIOVASC is so superior to these other knockoffs.
Sure. Well, one of the main components is the hawthorn leaf flower extract, and the hawthorn that we use is European grown. And the studies that are out there, and they're fairly extensive, they've all been done on European grown hawthorn. And so the benefits for cardiovascular purposes, are done on that particular genus of plant, or that the studies that have been done on that particular genus. Now, that's important to know because there's hawthorn grown in other parts of the world. This hawthorn comes from China, and that is not the same hawthorn as the hawthorn that we use in KARDOVITE. And so the benefit of hawthorn is primarily as a cardiotonic. And I actually had a customer call me the other day, and I asked him, how does it help you? And he said, one of the things I noticed right away after about 4 weeks of use is that he no longer has shortness of breath. And that's because of the hawthorn.
Ah, yes. Very, very good. Now, of course, what these things is, they're cardiotonics. They actually increase mitochondrial function and heart contraction, blood vessel contraction. And then, of course, the other components are you have aged garlic, which is an antral ACE inhibitor and kills nanobacteria. Then, of course, you have the ginkgo biloba, which improves microcirculation and perfusion in the brain, the kidneys, and the other organs. Let's go through some of the other components.
Yeah. So we're often asked why we include valerian in our product. We use a European-grown valerian.
Well, the valerian, of course, is a rebalancer of the autonomic nervous system. As a compensation for the body's sensing that there is decreased perfusion, you get what's called sympathetic overdrive. And the autonomic nervous system, as you rebalance it back toward parasympathetic, you get vessel relaxation. You end up with a decrease in what we call fight or flight hormones, adrenal hormones. And that increased stress also causes an increase in free radicals. So when you move the autonomic nervous system back to balance, you reduce free radical load, vasoconstriction, and of course the usage of magnesium.
Right. And then we also get asked about the milk thistle a lot.
But which one?
The milk thistle.
Yeah, milk thistle is a major detoxifier of the liver for chemicals that interfere with mitochondrial function in the body, like bisphenol A and other chemicals, and also stimulates the liver to be able to remove heavy metals as well.
Yeah. And then, of course, we've got the cayenne and the ginkgo.
Now, the cayenne, of course, and the ginkgo biloba both work on microcirculation, and I think they are dramatically reduced blood viscosity as well. So I think we call stop cell clumping, decrease blood viscosity, improves the microcirculation in your capillary vascular bed. So they dramatically improve those perfusion in your brain, your kidneys, your liver, etc. So I'm very impressed with the combination. And I tell people, tighten your dosage upward. I take either 3 or 4 capsules twice a day, depending on how I'm feeling. And I say, hey, I can do my QRMA or my ADLRIS test right here in my home, and I'm soon going to get a Metatron. And the idea that these technologies allow me to actually check blood viscosity and other cardiac factors, I can actually monitor what's going on. And if you're really a stickler and want to get blood tests done, we can measure Pi-1 activity, high-sensitivity CRP, and even a rheologics test for blood viscosity. So KARDOVITE and KARDIOVASC now, which is the new name, is the most important first step to prevent the biggest cause of premature death and disability: stroke, heart attack, deep vein thrombosis, and decreased organ perfusion. That, by the way, is also a major factor leading to cancer and autoimmune disease, because hypoxic acidotic organs that are not properly perfused are a sitting duck for stealth pathogens that will switch on and off genes and cause cancer or autoimmune disease. So microcirculatory problems are a big deal. And of course, if you have any illness like diabetes or thyroid or other problems, microcirculation really compounds it tremendously. So I tell people every adult over 20 should be on it, and any child with illness. So my daughter, 22, with Down syndrome, takes KARDIOVASC every day. That's part of her formula. Pretty important. The testimonials, I mean, everything from improved brain function to improved hair growth to healing from injuries, post-operative recovery is faster, sports recovery from weekend warrior activity and muscle cramps. You add this to things like our magnesium glycinate, magnesium taurate, and you heal much, much faster. There really is no comparison. And KARDIOVASC, of course, we use it with our magnesium glycinate, malate, magnesium taurate, gamma E plus to repair the ion channels, and we may add forskolin. But the core formula, and many people all they need to start with is three things: KARDIOVASC, Supernox, and say magnesium glycinate malate. And their blood pressure starts to come down, they start to heal. They may need to add VASCULAR carnitine, which is a propionyl carnitine, and CoQ10, ubiquinol CoQ10, but we can reverse congestive heart failure, hypertension, and decrease perfusion. And their current test that doctors use using blood pressure does not measure organ perfusion. In order to actually accurately measure it, you need an oxygen electrode system, which is used in burn units. These cost $250,000. Doctors' offices are not testing you with your organ perfusion.
Yeah.
Now, there is a new capillary test out of Houston, based on research out of China, and I'll be bringing them on. I'm also working with some engineers in China to try to get a small portable device. Eventually, I would like to see one that you can use with your iPad or iPhone, so you can actually test your tissue perfusion, which is a far better test than blood pressure.
Yes.
And we'll pull screaming and kicking the health professions into the 21st century, despite the fact that they're stubborn and won't move out of the 19th century. Thank you, Fareed, for your dad's work and the development of KARDIOVASC. And we will be back in a minute with hour number 3. Our science team, Ann Morrison, lots of major breakthroughs in Professor McKinney. Stay tuned for hour number 3 coming up.